Hello everybody, Literature for Life here, bringing guys a brand new video. First and foremost, let me just say I am sorry for barely uploading at all this week. It's been a hell of a week. School started back up, college is college, and it's just been a very stressful and time-consuming week. So I haven't had much to do anything. Hopefully I'll get back to doing a somewhat consistent upload basis next week. I'm going to try and do at least 3 videos a week. That's my goal, considering school and everything, and work. Anyway, so today, I over the past few days, I have had a sudden re-interest in Scraps because I really like this deck. Scraps is one of those underdog decks that, like, almost everybody has heard of and maybe played against, and almost everybody that I've spoken to and know of pretty much all agree that it's one of those decks that's only a few cards away, or at least used to be only a few cards away, to be a really powerful meta contender deck, because every now and then this deck will sneak a regional win. It hasn't in a while, mostly due to just how oppressive Zodiacs are, and even though this deck focuses on destroying things and themselves, Zodiacs are just like low Trident, low Whiptail. So I feel like that maybe once a Zodiac gets hit and people are looking for decks to re-get into, Scraps are one of those really fun synchro spam decks, and they are just so incredibly awesome to play. Now, they did get hurt by Lynx a tiny bit, but as you'll notice, the entire archetype is Earth attribute, so I really feel like that Mrs. Radiant is like perfect for this deck. So that, and also Gofu's a thing still, and as long as he's still at 3 and you can make an easy decode talker, considering you literally don't need anything in your extra deck except for basically Scrap Dragon and Scrap Twin Dragon, this deck is I honestly don't think that it got hurt too bad by Lynx. Now, that being said, though, it could really do with some more support. As I said, this is one of those decks where it's very close to being a very powerful tier 1 deck, but it's still not there. It could really use, I'd say, 3 or 4 more cards that can do some stuff. Maybe even a Link monster, like maybe a Link 3 or something, that would really help out the deck a lot. So let's get on to the Blast from the Past and kind of just take a look at Scraps and see what they could do. So first and foremost, we got Scrap Breaker. He's a level 6, 2100 attack, 700 defense, Machine Earth. And one thing I want to say right now is that even though every single monster in this deck looks like it's a machine, they're not all machines. In fact, they have their typing everywhere, but they all are Earth, which is very awesome because you can do some things like play Lifeless Asm in this deck and all that. So what Scrapbreaker does is, if your opponent controls a monster, you can spell summon this card from your hand, and when it's spell summoned that way, select one faceless scrap monster you control and destroy it. I think this card was actually printed as a secret rare originally. Scraps have a lot of high rarity stuff for some reason. Breaker is okay. I feel like if the deck had a really good, solid level 2 tuner that's not named Scrapworm, this card could be really good, but I don't know, like, because Scrapworm is kind of meh, like actually very meh, and I mean, yeah, that's him plus Scrap Goblin equals Scrap Twin Dragon. There's still easier ways to make it, and Breaker is not the best way to go about it. Now, he has a combo extender and everything, and he's very similar to Scrap Orthros. Heck, he even has the same background color and stuff too. So, again, I feel like that this card could be really good if the deck gets some pretty decent monsters later on down the line, like maybe a level 2 tuner that's actually somewhat good. I mean, Scrapworm's okay, it's just not very great. We'll get to him here shortly. Then we got Scrap Golem, one of the best cards in this deck. Scrap Golem is a level 5 Rock Earth, as I see the typings everywhere. He's 2300 attack, 1400 defense, and once per turn you can select any level 4 or lower scrap monster in your graveyard and either spell summon it to your field or your opponent's field. This is an incredibly good effect, and it's a very intriguing one too, because you can summon the scrap monsters to your opponent's side of the field too, and it doesn't matter like what position it is in. So, like, for instance, you control your opponent, and, like, maybe they have, like, a decent board, so that you can't get at their life points directly. Okay, well, summon a Scrap Goblin to their, to their side of the field and in attack position and just keep poking at it because he has 0 defense, can't be destroyed in battle, and you're basically attacking your opponent directly. And that is incredibly funny. And not only that, but also he just is so good for going into so many different combos. With him, you can summon out any of your tuners, go into a synchro, you can make your Scrap Trend Dragon, your Scrap Dragon, and all these other really awesome synchros that you can use. And Golem is just an overall really good card. My biggest issue with him is that he is a level 5, and this deck doesn't have very many ways to get him out easily other than the field spell and playing like Call to Haunted or something. Now, that being said, though, I do feel like that he is definitely a main deck 3 of, like, honestly, this card is so incredibly good for the deck that would be kind of silly not to play it at 3, to be honest. Then we got Scrap Soldier, the other level 5 of the deck, and he's a tuner for some reason. Very intriguing. He's a warrior, too, so, hey, he's a level 5 warrior, so no searching him out with Rhoda. Not that you'd even play this card, really. He's 2100 attack, 700 defense. This card cannot be used as a synchro material except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster. If this face-up defense position card is selected as an attack target, destroy this card at the end of the battle phase. Okay, if this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can select one scrap monster in graveyard except himself and add it to your hand. And I'm going to be very, very honest. Everything except for the first line attacks where he can't be used as a synchro monster except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster. A lot of the scrap monsters share those very two effects, where if they're in defense position and they somehow survive, even though they all have crappy defense, they get destroyed at the end of the battle phase, and then if they're destroyed by the effect of a scrap card, you can grab back another scrap from your graveyard. And I really, really like this idea of what scraps do, where, oh, hey, they get benefits from destroying themselves, and then you're basically, like, toolboxing from the graveyard, or I guess scrap pile as you could call it in this situation, and you're just reutilizing that scrap to make bigger things and better things and doing things. Now, that being said, though, Scrap Soldier is not the best way to go about it. Scrap Soldier is honestly like the worst card in the deck. Like, honestly, I would much rather play any other of the bad scraps than this guy, and that's one of the really upsetting things about scraps. They have a lot of really good cards, but they also have a lot of bad cards. And, like, for instance, like, half of their spell and trap card, actually, half of their spells and all of their traps are pretty mediocre at best. And so are a lot of their monsters. And Soldier is just one of those monsters where he's just not good at all. I mean, he's a level 5 tuner, which is incredibly weird considering the deck does have some level 3s, but, like, you don't play either of these. I mean, like, the only level 3 in the deck you play is Scrap Goblin, and he is absolutely amazing for making stuff. But he is a tuner, and so is Warrior, so you can't even use them together. And then the level 3s that are not tuners are just, like, not good at all. Really. I mean, okay, Recycler is really good in other decks, but, like, he's not good in scraps in general. And I'll get to him here in a little bit. So yeah, Soldier is not very great. And honestly, I think he's also a secret for some reason. If I remember right, I swear he's a secret. Then we got Scrap Shark. He's very intriguing. So even though he looks more like a piranha, he's a shark. It's just something I want to point out. Anyway, so he's a fish, earth, very odd type and attribute combination, but hey, whatever. Scraps are weird in general if you're typing. He's a level 4, 2100 attack, 0 defense, and this was still the time when Konami thought that, oh hey, level 4s with high attack should be having some sort of stupid restriction on them. But, however, this guy's restriction on him kind of makes sense considering the deck and its playstyle. So, when an effect, monster's effect, or a spell or trap card is activated, destroy this face-up card on the field. That right away is very, very, very... It's a very double-edged sword. I was going to say bad, and I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not. But it's a very, very double-edged sword because, like, for instance, you can normal summon this guy and then activate Scrap Factory, and then he'll die, and then you'll get Scrap Factory's effect, which we'll get to Scrap Factory here in a little bit, but anybody has any knowledge of this deck knows what Scrap Factory does. So that's just not very great, but Scrap Shark does something very, very cool. If he's destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can send one scrap from your deck to the graveyard. So he's a fool's burial for the deck. And since he's so easy to destroy, and he dies by his own effect, and he's a scrap card, you get to send any of your scrap monsters. And heck, you can even send the spells and trap cards too, which you generally don't want to do, but you can if you absolutely want to. Like maybe you're playing DMOC or something, I don't know. But yeah, he's a good one-up, I would say. 2100 attack, he can beat over a lot of things, and a Fool's Burial for the deck is always nice. And then we got Scrap Kong. When his card is normal summoned, oh yeah, I completely skipped over to everything else. He's a beast, Earth, 2,000 attack, 1,000 defense, and much in the same way as Scrap Kong kills himself in some way. So can I just say that I love it, but how both of his arms are chainsaws? It's so cool. Anyway, so when his card is a normal summon, destroy it. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can select a scrap monster in the graveyard, add it to your hand. You cannot add Scrap Kong. So he's okay. Okay, like he's one of the ones that I personally don't play. I know some people play him because, oh hey, he kills himself and that triggers Scrap Factory and like Supply Squad and stuff, which by the way, this is one of those decks where Supply Squad is just stupid good in it because it's so easy to trigger and you make your money back so easily, so fast, and by money I mean like card supply. Anyway, so Scrap Kong, he's okay. I personally don't really like him too much. I know some people play him as a one of. I personally don't recommend that, but it's down to you and player preference. Anyways, next up we got Scrap Orthros. Arguably one of the best cards in the deck. So, well, best monsters at least. Scrap Orthros, he's a level 4 beast tuner, 1700 attack, 1100 defense. Pretty good stats overall. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned while you control a face-up scrap monster. And you can special summon from your hand just right away, easily. Just doing that. And then once he's been summoned, if you have like Call to Hunter or something, you can't summon him back unless you have a scrap monster face up. So it's very, very intriguing how that works. Anyways, when special summoned by his own effect, so special summoning from the hand, you have to select one face-up scrap monster you control and destroy it. And then if he's destroyed, you can grab back a scrap from your graveyard, except himself, and he has to be destroyed by a scrap effect. Standard scrap stuff. So, a very, very, very good card overall. You control a scrap monster, special summon him, destroy one of your scrap monsters, proceed to plus. And that being said, though, if you aren't very smart about how you do this, you might end up having to destroy himself. Which sometimes can be very good for this, because he will trigger himself and get something from the graveyard. Notice how none of this card's effects are once per turn, by the way. So you can just plus like crazy with this card. Oh my god. And this brings up another thing that I want to mention about scraps. Scraps, no matter what format you're playing, pre-Link or before Link or after Link, require a very skillful player to really be able to maximize everything. Because this deck is a very, very intricate deck, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why not a lot of people like it, like in terms of picking it up and playing, because you do need to dedicate a lot of time to figuring out your combos and everything. And Orthros, to some people, seems like a very bad card, but he's an amazing combo starter and everything. And I really wish that more people would give this deck a chance. It's a really fun, awesome rogue deck. Anyway, so Orthros, really, really good card overall for this deck and what it does. And he has some very interesting interactions with one of the spell cards that we'll get to here shortly. Next up, we got Scrap Chimera, another one of the best cards in this deck, like, honestly. So he's another beast. He's 1700 by 5, and he's level 4. And he cannot be used for the synchro summon of a synchro monster except for a scrap monster, and all other synchro materials must be scrap monsters. When this card is normal summon, you can select one scrap tuner in your graveyard, special summon it. So he's literally just normal summon it, get a free synchro, basically. Really, 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 really good card overall, I gotta say, because he's literally a free scrap dragon, or if you got your trying to find the right word, field set up right, a free scrap twin dragon, and also, of course, a scrap archfiend if you really need to go into them. So, really, honestly, Scrap Chimera is just one of the best cards in the deck, because then, like, so, like, let's say you have Scrap Beast out, you special summon Orthros, destroy Beast, and then, oh, hey, you just get to kind of plus off of that, and then normal summon Chimera, bring back the Beast, and then just go into more synchro plays, make a Scrap Dragon, pop Orthros, pop your thingy, one of your opponent's thingies, and then use Orthros effect to grab back something else. So yeah, really, really, really good interactions over here. And then we got Scrap Beast. And funnily enough, this card is one of the better generic level 4 tuners for the longest time. Because if you search like level 4 tuners, all the generic ones that like aren't part of an archetype or have some stupid restrictions, they're all bad. Like almost all of them are bad and have some sort of stupid restriction on them. Anyway, so Scrap Beast. He's a level 4 tuner, 1600 attack, 1300 defense. And then if he's targeted for an attack while in face-up defense position, he's destroyed at the end of the battle phase. And then if he's destroyed by the effect of a scrap card, add back a scrap monster in graveyard except himself. So yeah, he has a standard scrap effect. He's really, really good in this deck though, because he's one of your main tuners that's not named Orthros. Like you have 3 main tuners in the standard scrap deck, and that's Orthros, Beast, and Goblin. And Beast is just really, really good. He's 1600, has pretty good stats for a level 4, especially for a tuner, because usually tuners don't have good stats, but Beast is a good one. Just really good card overall. And then we got Scrap Hunter, one of the many scraps you don't play. Although I honestly gotta say, he has some interesting stuff going on for him. So he's a level 3 machine earth, 1600 attack, 400 defense. A level 3 with 1600 attack is nothing to like really, what's the word I'm looking for? Take for granted. This gang is really, like, just has really good stats for a level 3. And then his effect is interesting too. Once per turn, you can select, target, basically same difference. One face-up scrap monster you control, except this card, destroy it, and send 1 tuner monster from your deck to the graveyard. This card is very, very intriguing. He's not bad, but he's not particularly amazing for the deck either. Like, in all scrap builds that I've ever seen, I've never seen anybody play this guy, and if they do, it's, well, okay, I can't say I've never seen, but like very, very few people play Scrap Hunter, and if they do, they play him as a one-of. He's very, very niche and not very much needed because the deck is able to play just fine without him, but Hunter is still very interesting for what he can do, setting up plays and everything. And I feel like if the deck was a bit faster, he'd be more worthy playing. And then we got Scrap Recycler, who I don't get why this thing is a scrap. Okay, so he's level 3, 900 attack, 1200 defense, machine earth. When this card is normal or spell summon, you can send 1 machine from your deck to the graveyard. And then once per turn, you can shuffle 2 level 4 machine type earth monsters from your graveyard into the deck, draw 1 card. The issue with this is, okay, so setting up your graveyard's nice and all, but again, let's see here. Okay, that guy's a machine. Wing Beast, Insect, Beast Warrior, Machine, Rock, Warrior, Fish, Beast, 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 Beast. Most of them are beasts. Machine. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I could have sworn there was another one, but oh well. About 4 scrap machine monsters. So, and only one of them you want in your graveyard. The others you would prefer to have in your hand or in your deck so you can summon it off a Scrap Factory. Recycler is just not that great for the actual deck and its archetype. And even then, its effect is literally irrelevant for the deck. Okay, so you can shuffle 2 level 4 machine type earth monsters from your graveyard into the deck. Draw 1 card. That sounds like it'd be really good. But then you realize there's no level 4 machine type earth beast monster. Level 4 machine monsters in this deck. All the machines are level 1. And then, let's see here, Ico Sworn, yeah, level 1, and then like 6, and then 3. So 1, 3, and 6. Recycler does nothing for this deck at all. And that's no exaggeration. It's one of those weird cards that should have just been anything else and be generic, but oh well, I digress. Next up, we got Scrap Goblin. He has literally the standard scrap effect where, oh hey, if this face-up defense position card is selected as an attack target, destroy this card at the end of the battle phase, and blah blah blah. If he's destroyed by a card effect, a scrap card effect, add back a scrap other than himself. But he has the added benefit of being a level 3 tuner who cannot be destroyed by battle. This card is really good overall for the deck, just making more synchro plays. And generally speaking, you use him with Golem to make a scrap dragon and stuff. And then we got Scrap Worm. He's a level 2 tuner, insect, earth, machine, 500 attack, 100 defense. If this guy was a machine, I'd actually I'd actually almost play him because machine duping a level 2 tuner would be stupid. So this card can attack your opponent directly. If this card attacks, it's destroyed at the end of the battle phase. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can select a scrap in your grave, accept himself, add to your hand. Standard scrap effects. The big thing is that the attacking direct is like literally irrelevant, and the deck has no need for a level 2 tuner unless you're playing Breaker, and even then the level, like, you got easier ways of making your scrap dragon, like, honestly. Then we got Scrap Searcher, a card that I kind of want to play, but like it's just not very much worth it. Okay. So it's a winged beast, level 1, 100 attack, 300 defense. When a scrap monster you control is destroyed, except itself, or another copy of itself, and sent to the graveyard while this card is in the graveyard, you can spell summon this card from your graveyard. When this card is special summon, destroy all face-up monsters you control except scrap monsters. So the reason why I kind of wish this card, I kind of want to play this card, I should say, is because he gives the deck some recurability, something that the deck, funnily enough, does not have, because all the scraps need to be destroyed by a scrap card effect. But 9 times out of 10, if not 10.5 to 10, you're not going to be doing it against another scrap player. So scraps won't be getting their effects to grab back stuff in their graveyard. So giving the deck some sort of recurability with Scrap Searcher is really, really nice, because then, oh, hey, get a wall and he can keep reviving himself, which is funny. But not only that, with Links out now, if Scraps ever get a Link monster, this card would be really, really, really good Link bait for him, because then, oh, hey, something dies, you can bring him back, and then it's not a once per turn, so you can bring back multiples, and then you can use them for more Link summons later on to open up more zones to get more Synchro summons, which is why I really hope that this deck is one of those decks in that Link Frames pack, or whatever it's called, that get, well, Link monsters. Or at least I think this deck wasn't using the anime, because that set is literally restricted to giving links to stuff that was not from the anime, so I don't know. Anyway, on we got Scrap Mind Reader, whom of which I believe was the last of the scrap support from the 5Ds era. The deck did eventually get more support later on, but I believe, if I remember reading correctly, this is the last card for the deck, and was also a TCG exclusive that a lot of people were hoping would break the deck finally, because again, a lot of people really, really like this deck, and really, really, really want to see it be as good as it deserves to be, because this deck really does deserve it. But Mind Reader didn't do anything for this deck, like, honestly. So he's a level 1 tuner, he's a machine, 0 attack, 0 defense, so he is a machine dupe target, which is pretty cool. So once per turn, while this card is in your graveyard during your main phase 2, you can select one face-up scrap monster you control, except himself, or another copy of himself, I should say. Destroy that monster, and if you do, spell summon this card from your graveyard. If you do, remove this card from play when it is removed from the field, and if this card is used as a synchro material, all other scrap materials, all other synchro materials must be scrap monsters. So the big thing with Reader is that the deck doesn't have many ways to fully utilize him, because if you look at the scrap synchro monsters, we got a level 7, 8, 9, and 10. So how exactly are you supposed to make any of these with this guy? If you look at the not the other monsters, we got 6, 5, 4, 4, you know, like, there's no like level 5, and I mean, yeah, I guess you could use him and 2 level 4s to make a scrap twin dragon, and I guess the real idea is to use him like a level 4 and golem to make atomic scrap dragon, but that's just not really that optimal. Like, really, honestly, Mind Reader, he sounds good on paper, and I really think that if this deck were to get like a level 5 synchro or something, he'd be really good. And hey, he'd be another good target for making a Link monster, because, well, he's an Earth and all that, and hey, if Scraps ever got their own Link monster, he could be used as that for easy Link bait. The issue again is, though, there's just no good synchro targets for using him as a synchro material, or at least no easy way about doing that when you could just already do it very easily without using him. So yeah, Scrap Mind Reader, he's a good card. He's just, the deck is lacking in being able to utilize him to its fullest effectiveness. Now then, for the spells. Okay, so this is where we get to the mixed bag, because I'm going to be completely honest, only 3 out of the 6 spells that this deck has are actually worth anything. So first and foremost, we have Scrapyard, and it's a very simple normal spell that says add 1 Scrap Tuner monster from your deck to your hand. Very, very simple, very, very cool, very, very awesome, because you can just grab Orthros or any of your other tuners that you need from your deck to your hand incredibly easily. It's a Rhoda for the deck, super simple. And then we got Guts of Steel. Normal spell card. Select 3 scrap monsters in your graveyard. Your opponent picks one of them. You spell summon it to either player's side of the field, and then remove the rest from play. This card, it's so, I don't know, how do I put it? Like, it's a really bad Monster Reborn, because your opponent picks one of the 3 that you select, and then it gets summoned to your side of the field, or to their side of the field if you really want to, and then the rest get removed from play. Now, that being said, though, generally speaking, most of the scraps in your graveyard you don't really care about other than your tuners and then your non-tuners, because you generally recycle these 2 the most, because you just keep grabbing him back and then grabbing him back, and then you just kind of recycle. So, theoretically, this card could be really good, but it's just like, oh, hey, I really want my golem. Okay, unless I have 3 golems in my graveyard, I gotta select 2 other things, and my opponent's clearly not gonna give me the golem. Because, yeah, they're not idiots. So, yeah, Guts of Steel. If it was just a flat out select one scrap monster in graveyard, spell summon it, banish 2 other scrap monsters as cost or something, that'd be good, because, hey, then you can bring back something, and then you get to select which cards to get removed from play, and you don't really care as much. It'd still be not that great, and maybe a 2 of at best, but it'd be a nice combo extender. But as it is right now, Guts of Steel is just not good at all. Like, really, honestly. Maybe if you want to tech one of it, you can, but I don't see it being that useful. Like, the only time I'd ever see this card being useful is if you're top decking it in a losing scenario, and you got 3 golems in your graveyard, and you're loaded up with a bunch of tuners, and you top deck it, select 3 golem, your opponent selects a golem, the other 2 get removed from play, and then you proceed to try and make a comeback. But yeah, you're already in a losing position with that. And we got Scrap Storm, a quick play spell card. Target 1 scrap monster you control, send 1 scrap monster from your deck to the graveyard, then draw 1 card, then destroy that monster. So many dens. So this card is really, really good, because then you can dodge stuff. Oh, hey, your opponent activates Dark Hole. Okay, activate Scrap Storm, destroy your thing, draw a card, send a dude. Really, really, really nice. That being said, though, this card has a really cool interaction with Scrap Orthros. So let's say I normal summon out Scrap Beast, and then I have Scrap Orthros in hand, and I special summon him, targeting Beast. I can chain my storms, and I can chain multiple storms, because the destruction is the last part of the effect, and it's not the cost. The sending part is, or at least I think the targeting is. So long as you have something to target, you're good to go. And so if you activate like your storms in response to Orthros targeting the beast, they'll all resolve. You'll get to send 3 scraps from your deck to the graveyard. You'll get to draw 3 cards, and you basically nullified Orthros's cost, if you would want to call it that. So Storm is a really, 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 really good card for this deck, and I really wish more of the spells did stuff like this, because that is a really good spell card for the deck. Then we got Scrap Sheen, quick play spell card as well. Select 1 face-up scrap monster you control and destroy it. All face-up scrap monsters you control gain 1,000 attack until the end phase. This card has potential to be good. I mean, it's a scrap card, so you trigger their effects to, get stuff. And then it can help with OTKs and stuff. But it just doesn't do much for the actual archetype. Like, I mean, yeah, it triggers your thing, you get back something, and you can go for an OTK, or you can save your stuff from dying. The issue is that, generally speaking, it's not the most optimal thing to do, and it just isn't that great. I could see this being a funny little tech, though, for being just a one-of, but even then, it's just oftentimes there's better things you can do, and you don't really need it too much. And then we got Scrap Lube, and can I just say, I freaking love this artwork. It's so cool, and it's like, makes Scrap Dragon even more menacing. I mean, yeah, they basically just took the artwork of Scrap Dragon, plastered it on there, and gave it an ominous aura, but it's still really cool. I like it. So it's a continuous spell card. Select 1 scrap monster in graveyard, spell summon at target. that monster from your graveyard. Its effects are negated. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is removed from the field, destroy this card. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. So this was back when Monster Reborn was banned, and I think Call to Haunted was still at 1. So just about every deck from the 5Ds era was getting their own archetypal crappy versions of those cards, and Scrap Lube is one of them. It's okay at best, but it's just not that great. Now, the interesting thing is that you can activate multiples of it, and it has no restrictions on what you do with that monster, so that's something cool, but like the effects are negated, and you can't conduct your battle phase. That's the two biggest downsides of this card. Now, going first, it's a really good combo extender, don't get me wrong, but this card is really not that great, and being able to, yeah, sure, you get to bring back something, but you're restricting yourself from being able to use that monster for its effects. Like maybe you want to bring back a golem and use its effect to bring back something else so you can make a synchro play. You can't do that with Lube. Oh god, the jokes. That just like dawned on me as I said that. God. Help me. Anyway, so it's a good card. It just doesn't help too much. It's terrible at its job, honestly, and I'm not helping. Moving on before I just want to just crawl in a hole. Okay. Oh god. Okay. So Scrap Factory. This was the most recent support that this deck has gotten. And holy crap, this is how you fix a deck. Almost single-handedly, okay? So this one card made Scraps almost meta-relevant. Like, I remember when this came out back in Duelist Alliance. So, keep in mind, it's all the way through this Exile era, and then at the beginning of the Arc V era, they finally got more support, okay? Keep in mind, that's how long it was for Scraps to get more support. Scraps got this field spell, and it almost single-handedly fixes every issue of the deck. Almost. The deck could still really use a spell and trap card searcher, and it could still use a way to get its non-tuners from deck to hand. But Scrap Factory is a darn good field spell, and it's so freaking good. I just repeated myself, but that's how good it is. It's so good you gotta repeat yourself about it. So Scrap Factory, it's a field spell, obviously. All scrap monsters gain 200 attack and defense. It also goes for opponent. When a face-up scrap monster or monsters on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can spell summon one scrap monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Scrap Factory once per turn. So sadly it is a hard once per turn, but still, being able to just plus off of every little destruction effect, and since that's the whole point of this deck, is to destroy your own stuff. This card is so stupid, okay? For context, okay? Normal summon Beast or Goblin, doesn't matter, okay? Spell summon, well, first activates Factory. Spell summon Orthros. Orthros effect, destroy Beast or Goblin. Factory effect, special summon out your Golem. Golem effect, bring back your Beast or your Goblin. Proceed to make plays. And then troll your opponent and get rid of stuff. It's so good. And then there's like other ways you can just utilize it, so effective. It's such a good field spell. Oh my god, I wish every field spell for every deck was as good as this. And okay, granted, Konami's been doing that basically, but it's so good. Oh my god. Then we get to the traps. Honestly, neither of the traps are any good at all, really. So, Scrap Crash. I almost called it Scrap Cash, but Scrap Crash. Really hard to say for some reason for me. Activate only when a scrap monster you control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard. Destroy all face-up spell and trap cards on the field. Maybe in a format where face-up spell and trap cards actually mattered, and you have already used your Scrap Factory, which you probably would have, but however, then that would resolve. Yeah, this card is just bad. It's so bad. It's just so incredibly bad. Don't know. Then we got Scrap Rage, which I honestly like the artwork. Heck, I like the artwork on all the scraps. They all look so cool. Scrap Rage, activate only during damage calculation if a defense position scrap monster in the field is being attacked. It gains 2 files of defense and is destroyed at the end of the battle phase. So, oh hey, your beast in defense mode for some reason is being attacked. Okay, boost it up by 2 files in defense, and then it dies because, yeah. This card, it's not good. I mean, yeah, I get it. All the scraps, well, almost all the scraps Okay, not even almost all the scraps, but a lot of the scraps have, hey, if this card is attacked while in defense position, it kills itself at the end of battle phase. That never happens, okay? Like, it's really, 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 really irrelevant. Maybe in a super, super slow format, but even then, in a super slow format, this deck would be stupid good because it's really fast once it gets rolling. This deck, once it gets rolling, it's really, really scary. But, however, that's the big thing, is getting it rolling. So before we get on to the synchros, let me just kind of give my final thoughts on the actual archetype. Well, not on the archetype, but on the main deck. The deck needs two things. Two big things, okay? The 4 synchros are really cool. Okay, 3 out of synchros are really cool. Which we'll get to here in a short because they're all the boss monsters. And honestly, 3 of the synchros, specifically the dragons, are all really good, really powerful boss monsters, and I really, really like all 3. Atomic Scrap Dragon being the less of the 3, but however, it's still a good card. What the main deck really needs is 2 things. Firstly, it needs a good starter. This deck does not have a good starting play unless you open Busted, and even then, you're often restricted into making the dragons, and the dragons, while really, really powerful going second, are terrible going first, because they need to destroy stuff and then get rid of stuff on your opponent's field, or in the case of Atomic Scrap Dragon, stuff in your opponent's graveyard to be able to use their effects. But you can't when your opponent has nothing, because it's your main phase 1 of your first turn and you're going first. So yeah, this deck needs a better starter play. That being said, also, this deck could really, really, really use a searcher. I mean, yeah, it already has Scrapyard, which is a really good card for getting your tuners, but it needs a way to get to its spells. And I guess it's traps if they ever get a good trap. And also its monsters. So I really feel like maybe a scrap monster that whenever it's destroyed by a scrap effect, you can add a scrap card from your deck to your hand would be really good. I don't know if that would be too broken, but it'd be really, really nice. So, now then, moving on to the boss monster, Scrap Archfiend. He's just there. He's level 7. 2700 attack. No one uses him unless you're playing Infernity. Like, he might as well, I mean, not Infernity, Infernoid. So he might as well not even be there. So then we got the 3 dragons. Scrap Dragon, Scrap Twin Dragon, and Atomic Scrap Dragon. The Scrap Dragon being level 8, followed by Scrap Twin, and then 9, well, the 9 and then 10 at Atomic Scrap Dragon. I'm sure everybody knows about Scrap Dragon as a whole, because this card was so incredibly good for a really, really long time in not just its own archetype, but in other decks too. Scrap Dragon was arguably one of the best level 8 synchros for a really, 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 really long time. It has really good stats, a 2800 attack, 2000 defense. It's a dragon, it's an Earth, and it's a level 8 synchro, which is stupid easy to make for a lot of decks. And he's generic, needing just a tuner and a non-tuner. And then once per turn, you can target a card you control, and one card your opponent controls, destroy them, and when he's destroyed by the opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, target a non-synchro scrap in your graveyard, spell summon that target. So really, really, really good effect, being able to get rid of your dead stuff, whether it just be your scraps to trigger their effects and plus off of destroying everything, well, not everything, but a lot of things, and or maybe getting rid of a dead call to haunted or something to, well, be able to plus even harder and just go off even more on your opponent. Scrap Dragon is still a really, really, really powerful dragon, and heck, you can be kind of cheeky and play Return of the Dragon Lords in this deck, because he is a level 8 dragon. Return of the Dragon Lords can revive him from your graveyard. So if you want to be cheeky and do that, and like also bring back your Stardust or something, you can do that. It's really funny. And then we got Scrap Twin Dragon. He's a level 9, 3k attack, 2200 defense. And just for the record, Atomic Scrap Dragons level higher than Scrap Twin. Can you see what they did? Level 8, 20. Yeah, they just pumped up the attacks and defense by 200 and made the levels one level higher. Anyway, Scrap Twin Dragon is really good as well. He needs a scrap tuner, so he's not generic. He's a dragon, Earth, level 9, 3k by 2200, and needs 1 scrap tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, you can select 1 card you control and 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy the 1 you control and return the 2 your opponent controls to hand. And then he has the exact same effect as Scrap Dragon, where if he dies by your opponent's card, you can spell summon any non-synchro scrap from your grave. So Scrap Twin Dragon, just being able to double compulse something, 2 things your opponent controls, is really, really good. And of course being able to plus off of your scraps dying. So Scrap Twin Dragon is again really, really good. So, of course, if Scrap Dragon destroys one card and Scrap Twin Dragon returns 2 cards, you'd figure Atomic Scrap Dragon being the hardest one to summon, being 3200 attack, needing 2 non-tuners to summon it, and a Scrap Tuner would, I don't know, shuffle 3 cards to the deck or something. Yeah, but not from the field. Okay, so once per turn, you can select 1 card you control and up to 3 cards in your opponent's graveyard. Destroy your card and return the opponent's cards back to the back to the deck, and then he has the same effect as these two. So, Atomic Scrap Dragon, rather than keeping up with the other 2 and do stuff on field, shuffles 3 from grave back into the deck. Now that can still be really good against certain matchups. Like if you're doing against Zodiac, you can put their combos back in the deck so that they can't, use its effect later on and plus off of it. You can get rid of if you're doing against Gem Knights for whatever reason, you can get your opponent's Gem Knight fusions back in the deck, and then hey, look at that, they can't do that. And heck, if you're doing against anything that utilizes the graveyard heavily, you control your opponent, put them back in the deck. That being said, this card is a 1 of, whereas Scrap Dragon's a 3 of, and Scrap Twin Dragon's a 2 to 3 of, because, yeah, this guy is not the easiest to summon in any build of the deck, honestly, unless you're playing Scrap Mind Reader. And then, even then, he's not exactly the most optimal thing to do half the time, because he's just okay, and even then it's against certain matchups. Honestly, the big thing about him is that he's 3400 with the field spell out, and you get over, most everything that people play nowadays. So, Atomic Scrap Dragon is really, really, really okay. He's okay. He's a good card. He's really good against certain matchups, but he's just kind of there, which is kind of funny. So, out of the synchros, I feel like that this deck could use 2 others. Well, maybe 1 more synchro and a Link Monster. I really feel like that they could use a Link Monster. You don't really need one because you got Mrs. Radiant, and whereas right now, well, before Links, I should say, before Links, you could churn out double Scrap Dragon and an Atomic Scrap Dragon with the right hand first turn, and it's really, really stupid when you do. But all you have to do is make one of those Scrap Dragons of Mrs. Radiant instead, and hey, you still got the same field, basically. So, really, in all honesty, this deck could use a Link Monster. I feel like it needs a Link 3 that opens up 3 zones below it. Granted, if I had my way, every deck that got hurt by Links in any way whatsoever would be getting a Link 3 with 3 zones that it points to. But anyways, I also feel like they could really use another synchro, something that's level 6 or level 5 even, something that makes Mind Reader good, or heck, maybe even another level 8, because really, in all honesty, this deck could really use another synchro, something that is really good going first, maybe a level 5 synchro. No, I was just basically going to call it a Denlong. Whenever it's synchro summon, starts out a scrap, and then, oh hey, it can protect your scraps or something. It needs a good going first boss monster. That's what it really needs. Maybe a Scrap Dragon kind of monster, maybe make it a 4-headed scrap monster, I don't know, something like that. Or heck, maybe make it a baby Scrap Dragon. I don't know how that would work, because they're they aren't machines, but they aren't living, obviously, because, well, they're literally just things put together. But maybe something like a baby Scrap Dragon that it's a synchro monster. Maybe make it I don't know, level 6, so you got a reason to play Mind Reader more than just making Atomic Scrap Dragon, or making Scrap Worm actually playable. And then maybe make it to where whenever it's synchro summoned, you can grab a scrap monster from your deck to your hand, and then then maybe once per turn, during your first turn, you can pop a scrap card you control and spin back a card your opponent controls in the deck. I don't know, maybe that'd be too stupid, but I feel like this deck needs something like that. And maybe make it have 0 attack, but 2800 defense. Okay, now I'm just making it even more of a ding-along, but you get the point. It needs something like that that's really good going first, because this deck doesn't have it. And if you make it go, let's say you lose the dice roll and you're going first, you might as well just be making a Stardust or something, because, and heck, even then, half the time you can't, because, hey, half the freaking cards say, hey, you can't use this except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster. So, I don't know. Anyways, what do you guys think of scraps? Do you think that they are 1 or 2 cards away from being broken like a lot of people think? Or Do you think that they aren't? Do you think they have always been terrible, complete and total crap? Complete and total scrap, I should say. Do you think that they were hurt heavily by links like a lot of every other synchro-based deck? Or do you think that they aren't hurt by links that much? Anyways, guys, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. What do you guys think that the deck needs? Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And see you all later. Peace out and goodbye. Pretty Legend for Life. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to my 2 Patreons so far. To my 2 wonderful, wonderful Patreons, Cambrock223 and Night Zone. You guys are incredibly, incredibly awesome. And it just, I can't express my thanks enough. Thank you guys both. And I hope everybody has a great day. See y'all later. Peace out.